Welcome to Homestead Miami Speedway in Miami Beach, Florida. We are live here on Full Throttle TV for the third event of the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. I'm joined in the booth by DJ Lyon. I'm Jared Carr, and this is the first true oval of the season, DJ. We're finally on the ovals part of the schedule after racing Daytona for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Jared, I can't tell you how happy I am to be away from Daytona. We were so excited to be there, and now we are excited to be away, but we will be back in short order. But we stay in Florida, and we head further south to Homestead Miami Speedway. This 1.5 mile track is pretty treacherous. Don't let the wide angles and the high banked corners, the progressive banking, all that, don't let it fool you. It is a very, very treacherous track to get around, especially when you can go 3 and sometimes even 4 wide through the corners, depending on if you want to go to the inside or the outside. Watching some drivers here in practice today, it's about a 50-50 split. I see drivers on the inside. I see drivers on the outside. I see drivers hit the wall, especially out of turn number 4, because that banking drops out from underneath you. You think you have enough throttle in it, but you don't. Sometimes you have too much and you put it in the wall. Jared, it's going to be fun, as this is the last race that we have that will put us into the top 20 in points starting next week.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, DJ. Let's take a look real quick at that championship grid. All the races up until this point are based on last season's points. So if you're in the top 20 in 2020C, back when FTSR did 3 different seasons, they divided into an A, B, and C season. Now they're doing a full season. It's all 2021. Starting next week at Las Vegas, the series will base on this year's points. But tonight, we're still on the old points. So looking at this, Brandon Elder, who is announced he's going back to a part-time schedule. So that's something to keep an eye on. But he is still locked in, still has a chance at the playoffs at the end of the year. We also have Randy McCanny in yellow there. He won last week at the Daytona Road Course, so he is also potentially locked in. But you look down toward the bottom of this championship grid, and you got some big names back here outside the top 20 in points that need a big night tonight. Actually, outside the top 30, we have Sherwood Williford in 29th. We have Dean Doucette in 31st. We have Wayne Grossi in 37th and Rachel Hunt in 38th in points. So this is a huge night for those drivers because they have to get themselves back in to the top 20 in points in order to not have to worry about qualifying, DJ.
Yeah, and I tell you, one of the races to look forward to tonight to possibly break their way into the top 20 will be Rachel Hunt and the number 16. She had some tough luck at Daytona on the oval and in the road course, but tonight, currently sitting second fastest in practice, just a couple hundredths of a second behind Dean Doucette, who, as you mentioned earlier, also has to make a run into the top 20 as well. They're sitting first and second right now. I see them being a battle for the win all night long between both of those drivers. And as you mentioned, Brandon Elder going back to the part-time schedule. So that is going to open up that top place in points, and pretty easy sliding into the top 20 for someone once Brandon falls out, which is definitely unfortunate for the team. But it's going to be fortunate for someone else. Someone's bad luck is someone else's good luck. About 5 minutes away from qualifying here, Jared. The weather looking pretty balmy out.
Yeah, let's say look at that race info right now. Air temperature 78 degrees, humidity 73%. If you guys did not watch our Wednesday night broadcast in the Blackwater Products machine series, it was 100% humidity, and that track was so foggy that Dean and Brad had a lot of trouble catching on the battles. We don't have that problem here tonight. Partly cloudy, winds out of the northeast at 5 miles an hour. That's going to be crucial. It's going to make those cars a little bit loose in 3 and 4. And track temp 89 degrees here at this 1.5-mile track. DJ, also the other thing too that a lot of guys might not think about, this track is the lowest track that we'll go to all season. Sits technically 4 feet above sea level, but in reality, it's pretty much right even with sea level.
Absolutely, and we apologize to Blackwater Products. We'll have a bigger logo next Wednesday, I believe that is, for Jared. So just do a little housekeeping right there. But, Jared is right. This track sits very low in elevation as compared to some of the other tracks we go to out in California, in the Tennessee hills for Bristol. So, the air pressure, you might think it's not a lot, but, all the engineers and the setups and everything, how much air pressure do you have? How low are you? How high are you? Everything through that. So the weather plays an important role, even in sim racing, on how you're going to set everything up according to whether you're going to have mechanical grip or whether you're going to have dynamic grip, how you want to get the car set up to go around the track. Here, at Homestead, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see people that are going to have hillbilly track bar or a hillbilly rear springs. They're going to have a little bit more poundage on that left rear to help them turn coming out of turn number 4, but you don't want to have too much in there where you get loose out of turn number 2. So they're going to offset that with a little bit of mechanical grip through the cross weight and everything like that. So really, really complicated. This track setup, I've been told, is a lot like Pocono setting up for all the different turns there as well.
Yeah, this track is very unique, and let's take a look at a race analysis located out there in Homestead, Florida, just south of Miami. The track was opened in 1995, but it's undergone 4 reconfigurations to its current model. It was a flat version of this track up until 2004. Before that, it was almost a miniature Indy, and then before that, it was a horse racing track back in the day. So a lot of different origins here in Homestead Miami Speedway. So 3 technical NASCAR tracks here there, and they reconfigured it after the death of John Nemechek in that truck race in 1996. This track, when they reconfigured it in 2004, went to progressive banking, so 18 to 20 degrees in the turns. That is going to be something that is going to be very prevalent in this race, to see if anybody can use those bankings to their advantage. And then tonight we're going to be doing 134 laps, 200 miles. And the last time we were here, which was a year ago, Homestead used to be the finale. NASCAR in real life moved it to the beginning of the year. Now it's the 3rd race of the year. But the last time we were here, which was almost a year ago, Dean Doucette was the winner in that race, DJ.
Looks like Dean has brought some of the luck, talent, skill, and setup over from last season, as he does sit atop the standings right now. And I remember when Homestead came out, and it was that really the kind of weirdly flat, and it just, some people liked it, most people didn't. And then they reconfigured it after the tragic death of John Nemechek. But here we are, and we're earlier in the year where, we're not coming down here when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, and we're not racing somewhere where it's snowing at this time of the year. So about a minute left in practice before we get into qualifying there, Jared. Top 5 currently look like Doucette, Hunt, Winner, Helm, Dale Nearad. A good run for Dale up there in practice so far. Casey McMullen, Ronnie Royal, Tracy Powers, Jeff Chandler, and Brad Patterson are rounding out the top 10. Some notables back in the pack so far. How about Wayne Grassy or Kevin Sargent? These guys, Kevin Rupert, all running and turning laps very far in the back of the pack right now. We're going to see if they can match. The front guys can match the pace, and the back guys can pick up a little time as soon as we hit the track for qualifying.
And the other thing to mention, as you see on our timing and scoring, there's 48 drivers. Not all 48 of these drivers will make the event. Only 40 get to go in. So the top 20 in points from last season are locked in, along with the champions from most recent to least recent. So Dean Doucette, Bernard Persson, Brody Hanna, those guys would be locked in. Sherwood Williford also locked in as a past champion in the Cup Series based on how far back we are. And that's something to keep an eye on as we are about to ready to head to qualifying. Before that, we're going to have a quick commercial break, and we'll be back to start qualifying here at the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series here at Full Throttle Sim Racing.
The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready, this is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Got to be careful. The bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
We are back live here at Homestead Miami Speedway as qualifying has started, and we got some big news here in the standings here. Tracy Powers going to the top, and Dean Doucette sitting on the outside. Tim Bills looks like they were within looks like 1/100th of a second, so very quick at the top.
Yeah, Tracy Powers picked up just a little bit under 0.2 of a second from the practice time to the qualifying time. Dean Doucette, he only picked up about 0.5 tenth, so about 1/100th picked up there. So Tracy Powers is definitely making the bid to bring home the pole position here today. Tim Bills currently in third, Dale Nearad in fourth, Casey McMullen in fifth. With a minute and a half left in qualifying, it looks like oh no, they got a lot more time left in qualifying. My apologize. It looks like that the top 5 could change just a little bit. Surprise, Rachel Hunt didn't pick up that much. She is currently in the 7th position.
And we look at this, TJ or DJ, and you look at these guys outside the top 20 in points. Chris Beck, Jeff Bratton, they're down toward the bottom of this list as far as qualifying times, and both those drivers could be looking at missing their first race of the year, unfortunately. Some other guys back there, Chad Lang would be locked in. So is David Hensley. So those guys are good. Tony Soler looking on the outside. Kenneth Schultz looking on the outside. Rory Collins, and big news, DJ, Jared Daniels, who came into this race second in points, is right now, unless he hasn't finished his laps, is sitting on the outside of the top 40 drivers.
Yeah, that is huge news for Jared Daniels, and it looks like that is all of the laps that he is going to be able to get in. Also, feel bad for Tony Soler. He picked up the most out of any driver from practice to qualifying, almost a half a second, but it still wasn't enough to get him into the top of the field here today. Jared, a lot of action happening. We haven't even taken the green flag yet.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We're still looking through our the grids here. It looks like everybody has taken a lap. So the way that works, the administration will begin moving those drivers into their correct positions here and removing drivers that aren't going to make the race outside of that. But it looks like Chris Beck, Tony Soler, Kenneth Schultz, Jared Daniels, Rory Collins, Jeff Bratton, John Held all look like they're going to be missing. Kevin Rupert also might be on the outside looking in as well. But that's a tough break for some of these guys who are just trying to get out there and race. But that's how competitive this Darkmatter Designs Cup Series is and how competitive qualifying is. When you look at the pole time right now, 30.48. And the slowest time is a 31:07. And that's only half a second. We're not talking a lot of time here.
Yeah, and we can confirm now that Tony Soler, Kenneth Schultz, Jared Daniels, which is huge, currently second in points, did not qualify into this event. Jeff Bratton, John Held, and Kevin Rupert all failed to make the show here tonight. So sitting on the pole and on the outside pole, Powers and Doucette. That's a pretty powerful front row. Tim Bills behind them. Rachel back in 7th. We're going to see how she can work her way through the field, but it looks like we're heading down to the grid.
Yeah, and DJ, you talk about Tim Bills. He's making his first start of the season here in the Cup Series. Now, he is a Truck Series champion. He runs very limited schedule in the Cup Series, but had been rumored to make more of an effort to run the series, so he is going to be lining up 3rd. Alongside him is Dale Nearad in 4th. Row number 3, Casey McMullen and Jeff Chandler. Good run for Jeff Chandler there. Row number 4, Rachel Hunt. DJ Lyon has said that she is the one to watch out for tonight. She is starting in row number 4. Brian Helm alongside her. Row number 5, rounding out our top 10, Jeff Winter and Matt Geringer.
Rolling off in the 11th spot, Steven Ruman. Remember last week I said that's my favorite last name, so go Steven. Get up there to the front, prove me right. And his outside is going to be Randy McCanny. McCanny ran really well last week. Rolling off the 13th position, Brad Patterson. And the 14th position is going to be Randall Ballard. 15th goes to Sherwood Wilford. And 16th position goes to Jason Martin. 17th position, Bobby Terrell. He ran well last week as well. And his outside in the 18th position is Bill Benedict. Inside of row number 10 in the 19th position is going to be Stephen Loomis. He qualified in with a lap of 30.710. In his outside, Terry Cooper Jr., always wanted to have fans in the chat watch the broadcast, qualified to his outside in the 20th position.
Looking back in row number 12, past champion Brody Hanna and Troy Torgerson. Paul Sargent and Ronnie Royal will round out in row number 12 there. Looking at row 13, it's Andrew Palicki and Donnie Staubitz. Row 14, Gary Griffith and Bernard Persson. Row 15, and on back, you look at Ralph Nolan, Richie Coy, Jason Spear, Kevin Sargent, Brian Bliss, Wayne Grossi, Zach McDaniel, Rob Shoemaker finally making a race, Gil Gock, Lane Allen, Rory Collins, and Chad Lang will be the shotgun on the field tonight. 40 drivers, and we already went over the 8 drivers that unfortunately missed the event, but the pace car is off, and we are about ready to start the Homestead 200. Green flag is out, and Tracy Powers is going to lead him down to the start-finish line.
Powers going down to the inside, but he does not have the push. The 77 comes up to try to nudge him along the inside of Doucette. Doucette now falling back. Powers to the lead. Now the battle is for second, side by side with Doucette and Bills, and it looks like Doucette got into the wall just a little bit, and it's going to allow the 77, the 03, and the 71 to power by on the inside.
Fanning out wide down the back straightaway. 2 by 2 basically throughout this field. Amazing racing. And you see these guys already starting to go, try to pick out spots, DJ. And we talk about the aero package and the track package that iRacing has. It's not an easy thing to pass on this 1.5 mile track.
Not at all. You got to wait until someone makes a mistake or someone wears more tires than you, or you just have to really get up there and manhandle the car down to the inside or to the outside. But you also want to be careful not to burn up the tires. So about 35 different things going through all these drivers' minds out there as they make their way around this 1.5 1.5 mile track here tonight, and it looks like Tracy Powers is going to continue to lead as we complete lap number 3, but Tim Bills, not to be a slouch here tonight, has shown up in the second spot, but fastest car on the track right now, that last lap was Dale Nearad. So look at that good wrench, number 03, working his way up through the field.
Good wrench on a Toyota. There you go. But Tracy Powers is doing a good job. He has won in the past on a sort of similar track. I wouldn't say exactly similar, but Dover, in terms of the way the track looks and the way kind of how you drive it in some ways, but he has won at Dover in the past and has done very well here. But right now, Dean Doucette's already dropped back 2 spots. But, you look back through the rest of this pack, Troy Torgerson, Richie Coy, Bernard Persson, Wayne Grossi already up 6 positions. And DJ, I'm getting word that Matthew Geringer has head to pit road. I'm not sure if did he miss the start or has he got damage?
Yeah, we'll definitely check out on Mr. Geringer there. But if you look back through the field, you mentioned a lot of passing. As soon as I look back through the field, everyone's single file now. You got to go back. I believe that is the 24 of Ronnie Royal. He's side by side with Brad Patterson. That's for 17th. So that's the first battle on the track. Everyone seems to be dialed in and just willing to run a few laps here tonight. But back there, 18th on back, they're pretty much side by side. Everybody's trying to get a run. And I'm going to go check on Mr. Geringer.
Brad Patterson, one of those drivers dropping back, and Ronnie Royal, one of those drivers going forward. Patterson down 6, Royal up 6, and Bernard Persson up 8 from his starting position. And these guys really battling a little bit hard back in this group. It's really difficult to pass, and I have to say it's amazing. 40 drivers out here, and they're running so good. And Ronnie Royal finished second in points 2 seasons ago, the 2020 B season, to Dean Doucette. So he's no slouch, and he's running just inside the top 20.
Yeah, I can also confirm Matthew Geringer has missed the start. He had a problem with the car. Currently still sitting on pit road. Now he is rolling down the back straightaway out there. He is going to be about 5 laps down. So tough road for him to make up. Had some problems at the start. No damage on the car, so if things go the way he might want them to go, maybe he could get back up in there. But right now, everyone's running very clean, single file all the way through the pack until you get to about, like we said, the 20th spot. It looks like Bill Benedict is battling with Stephen Vrooman right now for the 15th spot.
90 and 00, Vrooman on the outside. You also got Ronnie Royal, Troy Torgerson in that group, Bernard Persson, Brad Patterson, Brody Hanna, Terry Cooper Jr., another guy that can get the job done and kind of a popular driver in the series. He's back there in that group. Richie Coy moving up 7 spots in there as well. So, DJ, when you look at 40 drivers, and there's really not a lot separating here. It's difficult to pass because the aerodynamics have been changed in the 2021 year with these Cup cars. So they've taken away a lot of that draftability, and you see 3 wide back here. Ronnie Royal thinking about going in the middle, and then decide against it. But how difficult and how much do you pace yourself back here, knowing that you only have a limited window with those tires here, and they're still 3 wide coming off turn 2?
Yeah, and I tell you, the reason why they got 3 wide right there is because Mr. Vrooman got a little loose off of the corner and came down and almost collected the number 90 of Bill Benedict, but good driving on both of those parts. To be honest with you, Jared, how these drivers get around here, you either have to go really hard at the start, get as many positions as you can, or you have to sit back and save your tires and pick them off at the end. It's super hard to pass here, as you mentioned, so we're seeing a lot of drivers up front are just kind of chilling, just relaxing, just running their race, but a lot of drivers that started near the back are going super hard right now to get as many spots as they can. Wayne Grassi up 11 spots, Richie Coy up 7. Looks like Bernard Pearson, he's up almost 9 spots as well. So drivers in the back running as hard as they can. Drivers up front just pace themselves right now.
Wayne Grossi, last season's runner-up, has had a rough start to the season, but he's up 9 spots, as DJ alluded to, running in the top 25 now, 25th position, just ahead of Ralph Nolan Jr. Back up front, though, Tracy Powers holding on to a little bit of a gap on Tim Bills, but Dean Doucette starting to pick him off. And DJ, to be honest, when you look at Tim Bills, one of the best truck racers that has been around in this league, and doesn't make a lot of appearances in the Cup Series. And when he does, he seems to be a driver that can kind of fade. But Dean Doucette has won this race 2 times, so he is a driver that can get around Homestead Tracy Powers is a guy that has had some bad luck, but these three drivers, I mean, I think that that's a pretty eclectic group in the top three right now.
Oh, absolutely. And you saw Dean Doucette make the move up into the second spot, going past Tim Bills. Tim didn't fight him at all, just backed off, got in behind him. That's the appropriate thing to do at this stage of the race. But you can see two distinct grooves between Tracy Powers and Dean Doucette as they come out of turn number 4, as now Tim Bills is falling farther and farther behind. So there's going to be a battle for the lead here in short order, as Doucette, running that bottom line just a little bit harder into the corner, is able to gain on Tracy Powers. However, is Dean Doucette burning his tires up by doing this? Yes, he is. How long can he last up front? Pit stops are going to be the name of the game here, coming up here in a short order.
Yeah, and you speak about pit stops. These cars can go 63 to 65 laps on fuel, but if you notice, this is a 134-lap race. So unless you can get to about lap 67, you can't one-stop it. So we're thinking guys will start coming in around lap 45, but can stay out very long, as we got a battle for the lead coming off turn 2, DJ.
Battle for the lead now. Tracy Powers has company, and it's in the form of Dean Doucette. Doucette's going to drive it down hard to the bottom on the inside. Powers is going to try to fight back on the outside, and it looks like that Dean Doucette is going to clear Mr. Powers out of turn number 4. New leader, the number 29. I tell you what, he started in second. He's now in first. These top two have only traded one position, but they're now almost over a second ahead of the rest of the pack, led by Tim Bills.
These guys really starting to gap it out, and you're really seeing the prevalence of clean air. So lap 15, we have our second leader of the race. Powers has led the first 14. Now it's turned over to Dean Doucette. We look further back in the field. The top 4 have not really changed positions. The top 8 haven't really changed any positions. We have to go back to 11th place, Sher Williford, who's moving up 4 spots. He's on the inside of Randall Ballard, trying to get to 11th. He's going to clear him. And right now, that's where our gaggle starts. Randy McCanney has just cleared that gaggle as we go on board Sher Williford going into turn number 1.
You know, watching Sher Williford around here, seeing how to get around this track. Farther up in front of him, though, the Abruzzi-sponsored machine, the number 31 of Jeff Chandler, is looking underneath Dale Nearad in the Goodwrench-sponsored machine, and give it to the Abruzzi car. Running quick up through there. Hey, doing Abruzzi proud tonight. Got a couple of Abruzzi products myself here, so pretty good looking car, good race, and now he's going to let Dale Nearad go back around him. So these guys just trading positions for 4th spot right now.
And according to our data input here, it does appear Jeff Chandler is a boxer mix of some sort. So very impressive to see a dog out here racing here at Full Throttle Sim Racing.
Yeah, I had to look for a second. I was like, what is he talking? Is he an actual boxer? And then I looked at the screen. So, yes, according to our technical analysis here, that is a picture that we have been presented with. And he is doing all the dogs proud tonight out there, currently running in the 5th spot.
Jeff Chandler, really solid driver, and making his debut in the FTSR Cup Series. And now, DJ, when we're starting to get into the schedule where we have Homestead, Vegas, Atlanta, California, those traditional oval tracks. We're away from a road course. We're away from a super speedway where those are kind of niche or kind of random races. And we're really starting to see who could be contenders in this series. As you see Dale Nearad chase up the hill a little bit there, and Jeff Chandler almost got in the back of him, as that 31 of Jeff Chandler going to work on him again. And that's allowing Brian Helm to catch up.
Absolutely, and the dog's tail is wagging hard right now as he is setting his sights on that 0-3. You mentioned pit stops earlier. These guys that are going hard versus the guys that are not going hard right now. Pit stops is going to be key to that, because if you're doing it in a 3-stop race or a 2-stop race, or if you think that you can run in the back and save enough fuel to possibly do this on 1 stop, tires are going to be a huge factor here. So you're going to see. Remember last week we talked about how you could do different strategies, and everybody ended up doing the same strategy. So there was a little undercut, there was a little overcut, but there was no like real big strategy on pits. I hope we see that here tonight. I want to see these drivers change up the pit road strategy, but everybody is always afraid, myself included, when you pit, that yellow flag is going to come out and you're going to go a lap down.
You're exactly right. We look in on our fast mover of the race. It's our defending champion, Bernard Persson, up 13 spots. He started 28th on the night. He's 15th. He's running behind Troy Torgerson and Jason Martin. Those guys are battling side by side for 13th. But Bernard Persson getting that H8 Toyota to the front of the field in quick order.
Yeah, that rowdy number 8 is looking rowdy here tonight. As you said, he's the biggest mover so far up through this field. He's going to work his way now underneath of Jason Martin as they head out of turn number 2. You can see, again, as I alluded to earlier, 2 distinct grooves right here. The top line is going to get a little bit of better run off of the corner, but the bottom line, it's the shorter way around, but there's not a lot of banking down there. So you almost have to treat this like a dirt track if you want to pass somebody and do the slide job on them. But right now, everyone's being and being good. And did we mention that draft plays a factor as well? As you can see, the 9 scoot on ahead of the number 8.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is, and Bernard Person slides underneath the 98 there, getting on that low side. And DJ, when I was out there messing around with this track, the grip seems to kind of be right in the middle. You don't want to be too high because the car just kind of wants to skate into the wall. And if you go too low underneath that bottom seam, that car gets really loose. But Bernard Person using that really bottom line, and he's got Terry Cooper Jr. right behind him. This is where the battle is on the track.
Yeah, and the battle is looking good, 2x2x2 back here. And you mentioned going to the bottom versus going to the top. Is there dynamic track? Is there no dynamic track? We're not sure. iRacing is constantly putting updates out and changing things around and adding new features. And don't get me wrong, it is a great simulation. It is a great way to have fun. And the changes that they keep throwing at us keep the drivers on their toes. A setup that worked a month ago might not work again when they come out with a new update. So everybody's having to learn how to tweak and tune on their cars, where their cars will run, where their cars won't run. And so far, we're seeing big movers. We're also seeing big people falling back.
Let me take a look at some other drivers. DJ Bobby Terrell. He has started 3 times here at Homestead in the Cup Series. He has the best average finish, 2.33 with 1 win and 3 top 5s in all 3 starts. More amazing is he ran 435 laps, DJ, and he's only had 1 incident. So unbelievable. Bobby Terrell starting to make his way through the pack. He's up to 11th, started 17th for Wayne Grassi Racing there, that number 5.
Yeah, and there's different types of drivers. We mentioned different types of track, different types of cars, different types of setup. There's different types of drivers as well. Who's the driver that is going to go out there and is going to feel great running in the top 10, but they don't push their car? Maybe they could have got a top 5 or a win, but they always have that clean car at the end. They always have that good car for the picture, that consistency. They're always up there in the points at the end of the race. There's really 2 distinct parts to that when you're driving in a league race versus whether you're driving in an officially sanctioned race through the iRacing.com series. You're going to push hard, you're going to take risks, but in the league races, what we're doing right here tonight, you're going to want to take it easy. You want to be around at the end of the race and of the championship season. So a league like this, with all these drivers being mature and calm and knowing how to handle their stuff, this provides great action for the fans that are watching us here tonight on Full Throttle TV, and really competitive and fun racing for the drivers in here.
You're exactly right, DJ. And we haven't forgot about Dean Doucette, but in the time we've been catching up on some of the battles, he has established a 3.5-second lead over Jeff Chandler, who started to come to the front. Dean Doucette really setting sail here. The Canadian dominating here already, 27 laps into the race. Dean Doucette looks like the guy to beat.
I wouldn't say that just yet. The 31, the dog tail is still wagging, and he is over 1/10 of a second faster than Dean Doucette last lap. So we're going to see how quickly Jeff Chandler and that Abruzzi-sponsored number 31 can reel in Dean Doucette. We're checking lap times this time by. Dean's last lap was a 33.24. Jeff Chandler's was a 33.0. 0.2 of a second faster than Dean Doucette. The battle for the lead is about to heat up.
You're exactly right. We bring up our time delta. Now, Jeff Chandler was running in 3rd place at one point in time, so our delta is going to have some graphs that are a little bit higher, but you can see he is really starting to gain some time here on the last couple laps. The shorter the graph, the better it is for Jeff Chandler. We'll see how it up. Oh, Dean Doucette got loose off turn 4. That might cost him some time as the gap is down at the line to be about 2.5 seconds. Let's see what it is when Chandler goes across. Yes, 2.5 seconds indeed. He's gained 0.8 in just 8 laps.
Yeah, that last lap really hurt Doucette. His lap time was a 33.4 to Jeff Chandler's 32.999. And that 31 car is on the move. We'll see him battle for the lead here in probably about 4 laps. Everyone's still single file right now through the field. Everyone behaving themselves. nothing really to talk about until you get back to round 19th. Richie Coy battling back there with Ronnie Royal and Brad Patterson. Wayne Grassy back there as well. It is a hornet's nest from about 18th on back.
And we look at Jason Martin there, Brody Hanna underneath of him, and then there's 2x2, maybe even some 3 wide poking in a little bit further back. But this is where the battle is. 16th place, 17th place is Brody Hanna is going to finally clear Jason Martin off of turn number 2, move him up into 16th place. The two-time Cup Series on iRacing champion, the 23 car, looking to get his season going here. And somebody got up in the wall. That was Brad Patterson. Some sparks flying there. We got Richie Coy, Ronnie Royal, Wayne Grossi, Patterson, Vrooman, Jason Spear taking a little bit of some moving up in the field, and Steve Loomis there hanging on the back of this group.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's so easy to ding the right side of that wall when you're entering turns 1 and turns 3. Just juts out a little bit at you, and I can't tell you how many times I've actually done that and have seen other people do it as well. But Ronnie Royal falling back now just a little bit. He was battling up towards mid-pack there. He is now side by side with the 28 of Patterson. Patterson goes in. They almost make contact. That was close because you have to slide up just a little bit, and the 24 was crowding to keep his line down there on the bottom, and they almost made contact. But that just goes to show you, Jared, how close these drivers are racing here today and how tight it is to pass. As you see the big move to the inside, that number 7 car of Wayne Grassy looking for a 2-for-1 out of turn 2.
Wayne Grossi making a move down the back straightaway, trying to get underneath of these guys in front of him, and this is where the battle is on the racetrack. But we're still keeping an eye. If you guys notice in the top left screen there on the ticking tower, Jeff Chandler's down to under 1.5 seconds here, and we're going to go back up to the lead real quick here, but we're still going to keep an eye on that battle. Dean Doucette is catching Matt Geringer, who is 39th on the track right now, and I'm sure that dirty air is kind of hurting him a little bit, and we do have one driver in the garage. It's Donnie Staubitz.
Unfortunate break for Donnie Staubitz. We'll try to get your report on him, what exactly happened. But you did mention that Dean is getting himself into some lap traffic right now. That's Matthew Geringer, currently 39th, 5 laps down. Remember, had an issue at the start, and it looks like that the setup is just not there tonight for the number 11 car, as it looks like Dean Doucette is going to catch him quickly. You see Matthew running the high line. You see Dean now is going to shift down to the low line, try to get as much clean air as he can on the front of that car. And now you see as they go into this corner, they're both down on the low line. So, prove me wrong, but once he gets a little closer, they're going to he's going to want, as he does get really loose right there, Dean's going to want to try to run in a different line than that 11 car.
Yeah, sorry, DJ. He got really loose. He was dirt tracking off turn 4. And Jeff Chandler, you look on his car, DJ, that thing looks just planted, and he is just eating time every single lap. Let's take a look at that time delta. Last 10 laps, this gap has come from 3.4 seconds down to what you see now, a half a second. So Jeff Chandler is the guy moving up through the field, and he's had to come through a little bit of traffic. I mean, he started back in 6th position, but Jeff Chandler looking very good in just his 3rd race here in the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series, and it's only going to be a matter of time as we are about 10 or so laps from our first round of pit stops.
Yeah, and I know a couple of the guys on the Abruzzi racing team. They're kind of just a close conglomerate group of people that race on different teams, different leagues, but they're associated with Abruzzi. And if he has a couple of guys on there are really, really good analysts and very good at setting up cars. If he has anything like that here tonight, the 31 is going to be tough to beat. As you can see, he is closing in on the back of the 29 of Dean Doucette. But if you look at the front end of the 31, you can see it's planted to the track, but it's planted evenly. The left side, the middle, the right side is down evenly onto the track, and it looks like that the 29 has a little bit higher of a left front right there that's not allowing his nose to be sealed evenly. That can be done, through the A-arm symmetry and, different shocks and ride heights and stuff like that. But it looks like the 31 is running faster here tonight with possibly a better long run setup, as they now, all 3 of those cars, the lap cars and the 2 lead lap cars there, the 29, the 31, all throw them under a blanket. They're extremely close.
And Jeff Chandler just taking his time. No reason to really push the issue. You have a faster car. Matt Geringer is going to go way to the high side, let these guys get through here as best as he can. Obviously, he doesn't want to lose time himself. And Dean Doucette and Jeff Chandler are going to try to get in there. They have a 3-second lead over Brian Helm, who has now moved himself to the front of this field. So Brian Helm, part of that Bandit Racing group, has moved himself up to 3rd spot. Rachel Hunt, she's coming to the front too, DJ, up to 4th, Tim Bills 5th, and then Jeff Chandler's RPM Motorsports teammate, Jeff Winter, is in 6th spot. Bernard Persson up 19, he is in 9th place. The defending champion continued to move forward, and Jeff Chandler is there, DJ.
Yeah, Chandler up on the back of the 29 of Dean Doucette, like we alluded to earlier. He gets through the corners a little bit better. That goes to that fronted geometry on that car. Now he's going to go in just a little bit higher, try to get the run off of the corner. Remember, the 29 usually gets loose right about here as he has the past couple laps. This time he doesn't, but you see the drive of the 31, plus the draft is now playing just a little bit of a factor as well. You're going to see the 31 try to set him up. How patient is Chandler going to be to get around Doucette with pit stops looming here in about 5 to 7 laps? It looks like that Chandler is going to now try to make the move down to the inside, but no, he backs up just a little bit and goes back behind Dean Doucette. So he might be willing to sit here until pit stops, but if he does get a good run, I believe he's going to take it.
Jeff Chandler driving very patiently. Both these guys very veteran drivers. I mean, obviously Jeff Chandler first season here at FTSR, but has been on the service for quite a while and is done very well for himself on the service. So we know he can get the job done. But DJ, you know, we talked a lot about pit stops. The other thing we might have remiss, this race started in game at 4:30. As you see Jeff Chandler looking underneath on the back straightaway, and they're going to have a battle for the lead going into turn 3. Dean Doucette's going to take the high side, Chandler to the low side, and Jeff Chandler is going to clear him. So our third leader of the race taking over here on lap 41. Dean Doucette, oh my goodness, dirt tracked it very loose behind Jeff Chandler, loses a ton of time.
Absolutely. A little too much go pedal for Dean Doucette. Got a little loose out of turn 4, and Jeff Chandler is now your leader. And look for Chandler to start to pull away as pit stops, like we mentioned earlier, are about to happen. Hey, another mover in this race we talked about earlier. How about Rachel Hunt? She's made her way up into the 4th position. She has now set her sights on Brian Helm in the 3rd spot as they're working on that lap car behind Rachel. Jeff Winter. Tim Bills was running in 3rd. We were talking about him earlier. That very, very sharp-looking number 77 has fallen back into the 6th spot. He's in the clutches now of Sherwood Williford in the 7th spot. Behind them, Bobby Terrell has moved up into the 8th spot. That Armorall number 5 looks extremely fast. In the 9th spot, the biggest mover of the race so far, Bernard Persson. He is up into the 9th position and rounding out the top 10. Ever quiet, ever sneaky, you know, be around at the end. Don't really talk about them until it's time to go. That would be the number 71 of Casey McMullen.
Yeah, there's your top 10 right now. We did have one driver head to pit road. That's Jason Martin. So he's making an early go on the pit road. He will be now coming out in 37th position here. Right behind Casey McMullen, DJ, Dale Nearat. He was in the top 5. He has dropped off quite a bit, dropped 7 spots from his starting position, but he is now in 11th place and is kind of continuing to fall as Randy McCanney is catching up to him. And our pole setter, Tracy Powers, has dropped all the way to 13th place. And DJ, is that a situation where these guys might have anticipated having some cautions out here and set up short run, or did they just miss the handling a little bit on this track?
To be honest with you, it could be both. You know, a lot of drivers out there do set their cars up for a little shorter of a run. If there's possible cautions and you get short runs at the end, they're going to be there and be one of the fastest cars out there. Other guys set them up for the long run. How quick are you? How much is the tire wearing compared to that short run setup after 20, 25, 30 laps? I think it's a little bit of both, and we're going to see those drivers possibly that have built that short run speed into their car make a wedge adjustment here as they hit pit road to try to adjust the weight to a different tire to try to get some gap if they need to on the right rear. So we're going to see the guys up front are going to stay up front, but I believe 4th through last is going to change a lot as we come through pit stops.
Stephen Vrooman, Ronnie Royal in pit road. You'll see the pit stop timer down at the bottom, so keep an eye on that to see where your favorite driver is. Zach McDaniel, Kevin Sargent all in as well. DJ, this track, as I was talking when the lead was happening, this track is going to go through a transition. We're starting the race at 4:30 in-game time, and it's probably going to end when the lights are about to come on, or if not already on, around sunset. How much is that going to affect these guys as far as comers and goers in this race?
So visually, with the sun going down, it might affect a little bit depending on where the glare from the sun is coming. But as far as the cars go, track temperature means a whole lot. When you're when you're racing on iRacing, when you're setting up a car, when you're doing testing, whatever you're doing, the most important factor on the track besides you and the setup is the temperature, the track temperature and the ambient air temperature. So far, it's stayed pretty much the same, 78 degrees outside with an 86-degree track temperature. Wind is staying about the same, but once that sun starts to go down, this track is going to cool off. That is going to make the track tighter. But it could also make it looser depending on what setup you have in. So, excuse me, these drivers are going to be all over the place chasing that setup as we near the end.
Tracy Powers nearly up in the wall there, caused a big quagmire in turn 1 and 2 with Troy Torgerson and Brad Patterson. A lot of drivers in the pits. Randall Ballard, Bobby Terrell, all making pit stops. You see them down there at the bottom. Also, Paul Sargent now in. We also have Gary Griffith in as well. So drivers starting to make their pit stops, and this is about when we thought the pit window would open. But again, they can go 63 laps on a tank of gas. Tracy Powers peels off. He said he's had enough of this.
Well, if I think that this race is going to go green till the end, I am waiting as long as possible to pit. That way I can have the freshest tires at the end. That way I don't have to put as much fuel into it, depending on if we make 2 stops versus 1. And also, maybe I was running last on the pack and I was clutching it to try to save some fuel. Maybe I'm making it on 1 stop. So a lot of different strategies probably going to come into effect here tonight as we see some more drivers hitting pit road.
Troy Torgerson is in now. And while we're doing that, we look at Brian Helm. We were on board with him for just a second. He has caught up to Dean Doucette. So Dean Doucette might have burned up those tires, especially the right rear. And Dean Doucette in the 29's heading to pit road. So Brian Helm is going to stay out. And Jeff Winter is also going to stay out as well. Rachel Hunt is heading to pit road. Sherwood Williford's coming to pit road. Somebody's coming in hot. That's Tim Bills. I don't know if he got that thing slowed down, but it was close. Tim Bills is actually going to pick up a spot entering pit road if he did manage to not get a penalty there.
Yeah, he came in. I'm looking at the replay right when the time starts, right at that line. You can see him. He was slamming on the brakes, and right when he got to the line, he was at 47 miles per hour, but he was going down on the brakes. If that stands, that is going to be probably one of the best entries we have seen all night tonight.
Jeff Chandler, Brian Helm, Jeff Winter, the 2 teammates, and Brian Helm both in the pits now. You see Lane Allen leaving pits, Wayne Grossi, Jason Spears. So you got guys coming in, guys leaving. Stephen Loomis misses his pit. He's going to have to back up there, and that's going to turn the lead over to Dale Nearad, who is now taking over the lead. We have Brody Hanna in second, Richie Coy in third, and Ralph Nolan Jr. in fourth. Those guys have not pitted yet, along with Bill Benedict and David Hensley, who we haven't talked a lot about tonight, but David Hensley hanging in there in 6th position right now, the last driver that has not pitted yet.
Yeah, remember we were talking about Tim Bills as he had that hot pit entry? That was clean. No black flag from iRacing or any staff here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, and he is now past Rachel Hunt. Remember, Rachel was running up in the 4th spot, so what an amazing pit cycle for the number 77 of Tim Bills.
Bill Benedict is in. Also, Andrew Palicki is in. Got some more drivers heading into pit road as well. But, DJ, this is getting to that point where, if you haven't pitted at this point in time, you've kind of made your bed to stay out as long as you can. As you see Dale Nearad heading into the pits, so the 0-3 making his stop on lap 53. Brody Hanna's going to stay out. But now you're kind of made your bed on staying out here, and you're at this position where you got to prevent yourself from being run over.
Right, so you got to watch the guys on new tires coming, but really there's nothing wrong with what Brody is doing right now. He's trying to stretch as long as he can. These guys that are passing him, they're all going to have to make another pit stop. If Brody can run 67 laps, he's going to be able to make it on 1 stop. So leave it to Brody Hanna to test this out. Remember at Daytona, he stayed out the longest out of anybody. When we were covering the duels on the road course, he stayed out longer than anybody. And currently, he is the car out there right now, completing now on lap number 55, as everyone is blowing by Brody right now with new tires. But fuel strategy from Mr. Hanna, possibly.
Randy McCanny has abandoned ship. He is heading to pits, and I do believe this might be for a stop-and-go penalty. It shows he's already pitted. So it looks like, yes, it is. Randy McCanny getting a penalty for too fast entering, so he is going to lose some spots. He was running 11th place before the round of pit stops, so tough break for last week's winner. Richie Coy is still running there, but there's 4 wide behind Brody Hanna. We got Chad Lang in there, Ralph Nolan and Richie Coy all in there. Zach McDaniel as well.
Yeah, that's new tires versus old tires as they go around the 19 of Richie Coy, who has old tires on. Look at this gaggle of cars behind him. Here comes Dale Nearad in the 03. The 14 making his way up there as well. That's Lane Allen. But the 19 has not pitted yet. Richie Coy, as well as Brody Hanna in the 23. And all these drivers are now unlapping themselves. So if a caution came out now, that would be good for the leaders. Some of them, you know, maybe some of the guys that pitted a little while ago would pit again for another set of tires, but still, either way they work this. I think Brody Hanna is doing what he knows how to do best, that is save fuel and be consistent, and I think you're going to see Brody at the end of this race up front.
Yeah, there's two Fury Motorsports drivers, Brody Hanna and Richie Coy, both trying to make this thing work and try to stay out as long as they possibly can. At least to have that advantage on tires at the end of this race, but they are giving up a ton of time. We've seen it on the track already. David Hensley's still out there as well, but he is only 3 seconds ahead of our former race leader, Jeff Chandler. So Jeff Chandler is coming back to the front in a hurry, as you can see him on the screen there. David Hensley trying to stretch it there for Bandit Racing in that number 43, and it's going to be tough for him to hold off Jeff Chandler there, who is gaining on him. But another guy, DJ, we talked about him earlier, Bobby Terrell, who has finished in the top 5 in every race he's ran here in Homestead in the Cup Series and has the best average finish. He has moved himself to 4th on the running order after we cycle through all the pit stops. He is right now behind Doucette and Helm. So Bobby Terrell, great pit stop for him.
Yeah, and I tell you what, so it looks like the 28 car a little bit loose as he was working his way underneath Brody Hanna. That's Brad Patterson got loose going underneath to try to unlap himself. But if this plays out, if Brody can make it on one stop, according to the telemetry right now, if he can make it, it looks like that he might have the ability to possibly win this race. Everybody else is going to have to make 2 stops, and right now coming up, he's only going to need to do 7 more laps. The first car on new tires, Dean Doucette, he is now 13 seconds back of Brody Hanna. That is closing fast, by the way, but this would be close to the end of the race, and with these tires and this fuel saving, Brody might have a winning strategy right here if he can just make it a few more laps.
That's going to be a massive strategy call if Brody Hanna in that 23, and he's trying to hold it down there in the bottom. Kevin Sargent nearly got in the back of him, and Brody doing everything he can. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what Brody is doing right now as far as he's not holding these guys up. He's just that much slower because of the tires, and he's just trying to hold his line, and these guys trying to get around him, but Rob Shoemaker nearly came up the track into Bill Benedict, and it's creating quite a cluster around him, but Brody doing a good job holding on to that thing and not getting himself in trouble as he's trying to make 6 more laps around this Homestead circuit to try to one-stop this thing, which would be amazing if he could pull that off as we go on board with Brody Hanna.
Yeah, they're gaining about 2 seconds a lap on him, so if he needs to make 6 more laps, now 5 more laps, that's going to be, he's going to get past for the lead. So it's going to be very close on this strategy, how Brody can hold on to this. And here comes Jeff Chandler now working around the outside of Brody Hanna. So Brody was about 4 to 5 laps, maybe 4.5 laps, little too much give up there on those tires with those drivers, but it's possible that he could give it just a little bit more on this second run that he's going to take after this pit stop and be up there. But we're going to put Brody Hanna back now into looks like the second spot as Jeff Chandler has made his way around him. So Brody made it 63 laps rather, a couple laps short, but we're going to see how it plays out at the end.
These guys still out there. Hanna, Coy, and Hensley have not pitted. Everybody else has pitted at least once. Randy McCanny, the only driver that we can see right now that has been dinged for a penalty. He's going to find himself running from 11th, and now he's back in 37th. So tough break for Randy McCanny. Everybody else clean through the pits, and we thought Tim Bills might have got a penalty. He did not. Great pit entry, but Bobby Terrell must have done one better because he has been able to gain some spots. Those two guys battling on the track. And if we look at the pit lane times, DJ, these guys very, very close together if you actually look at it as far as pit lane times. Tim Bills, 43.38 pit lane time, the fastest so far in this race.
Yeah, they're close on pit road. They're also close on the track right now. Still keeping my eye on Brody Hanna. He is still out on the track. He's got to make it 3 more laps for this strategy to be viable. He's still in second spot. Dean Doucette has not caught him yet. The time has actually slowed down between how much Doucette was gaining on him. So this could actually play in Brody's favor, where he could possibly, if the strategy works out, be guaranteed at least a top 5 position. I believe that is what he is working towards right now, because Jeff Chandler might just be too fast for the strategy to work out. But you're going to see, as soon as Brody pits, he's going to be going 3, 4, seconds faster a lap than these drivers, catching back up. And then on top of that, they're going to have to pit again, and he's not. So I'm excited over this pit strategy. I got to give Brody Hanna props for making this exciting. Not that it's not an exciting race, but adding that technical analysis of the fuel and the tires into this whole deal is going to be fun watching him as we approach halfway.
Richie Coy and David Hensley, in the meantime, have pitted. So those guys doing it. Brody Hanna protecting the inside line, letting Dean Doucette have the outside. So might be a pit stop imminent here for the 23 machine. But DJ, if he can hold this thing off, I mean, he's going to gain. He doesn't have to do an extra 40-second pit stop or pit lane time. He locks it up going in the pits. Looks like he was underneath on our dashboard there. I don't know. That's going to be close for Brody Hanna as far as getting on pit road, but I think he was okay there. So now everybody is on pit road, and now, DJ, the strategy is really going to come into play.
Yeah, and the worst thing for Brody Hanna right now, while he's on pit road, would be a yellow. Until he passes that start-finish line, then he could possibly be safe and stay out while some of these other guys pitted. But then once he gets out and starts running around the track, the worst thing that could happen is a yellow again. So there's so much that could go wrong for this. This is a high-risk, high-reward strategy for the number 23. Going to keep an eye on him as he makes his way back up through the field, but also keep an eye on the leader, Jeff Chandler. He is now in heavy traffic, and he's also 6 seconds ahead of Dean Doucette.
So Jeff Chandler doing a very good job. He's in heavy traffic. He's got he's in a Raging Moose sandwich. Kevin Sargent in front of him. Andrew Palicki behind him. Kevin Sargent missed last week's race at the Daytona Road Course, but still having a pretty good race here tonight. Running right now, looks like back in, let's see, he is in, he's back there actually. So 30th position for Kevin Sargent there. So those guys are 38th position. He is 2 laps down actually already. So he must have had some issues there in that 09 as Jeff Chandler goes around him. But Dean Doucette not really able to catch up to Jeff Chandler on this run. He has established a little bit of a gap to Brian Helm. Brian Helm, we saw, caught him at the end of that last pit cycle. But we know for a fact all these drivers here that you see on your screen, they have to make one additional pit stop. So that is going to come up here in the next 20 or so laps.
Yeah, they all have to make an additional pit stop except for Brody Hanna in the 23, as we alluded to. Also, track temperature has gone down, so the track is going to get faster. The track is going to get tighter. Some of these drivers might be experimenting with tape, putting a little more tape on there to go a little bit faster through the air. 3 wide now. Oh, it looked like it for a minute as Brody Hanna got his way back up onto some slower vehicles of Rachel Hunt and Richie Coy. Richie Coy is racing with Brody Hanna right now, as those 2 drivers, remember, new tires. They're working their way back into the field, now underneath Bobby Terrell, heading for Tim Bills as they make their way into turn 1.
Jason Martin on pit road again. Looks like he had some issues there as the 2 Fury Motorsports drivers, the 19 and the 23, starting to make quick work of these drivers, but they are 1 lap down. So if a caution comes out, this strategy would not be good at all for them. Because, one of them would probably get the lucky dog, but the other one would probably be stuck a lap down. So, very risky strategy, but these 2 drivers, sometimes when you don't have the car to compete at the top, you got to try something different, and you got to respect that. Brody Hanna definitely, and Richie Coy definitely doing something off the cuff to try to make this thing happen right now, and they are running back in 33rd and 34th position.
Yeah, about 2 seconds faster than the lead pack right now. So, again, we're going to keep an eye on them. A caution right now would be absolutely devastating. They have to unlap themselves. So there's a caution that's going to happen. They have to unlap themselves for it to be even remotely okay. They would be at the back of the field, but they would be on even tires, and they would be on the lead lap, obviously. So that wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would kill their strategy. But definitely it would kill it even more if there was a caution. Right now, Jeff Chandler now out to even a bigger lead. Actually, no, that time Dean Doucette closed it in a little bit, 0.3 of a second. So it looks like this traffic that Chandler is around is affecting him. Especially he is fighting hard right now with the 90 of Bill Benedict, and that is no fault of Bill's, because Bill is the last driver on the lead lap. Bill wants to stay on the lead lap, so he is going to fight Chandler, but there's only so much you can do when you have that Abruzzi setup underneath you. Yeah, so Benedict is going to go a lap down, and Randall Ballard is the next victim for the 31 of Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, 26 drivers on the lead lap. Randall Ballard there in 26. Bill Benedict, Zach McDaniel, Andrew Palicki, Rob Shoemaker, Brody Hanna, Richie Coy, Paul Sargent, David Hensley, all 1 lap down. Steve Loomis and Randy McCanney 2 laps down. And then Kevin Sargent 3 laps down. We have Jason Martin and Matt Geringer appear to be off the track but still active in the race. So not sure if those guys are going to get their machines had some damage or something happened to them. We did not get any notification of wrecks, but they might have hit the wall or something like that. But those guys are multiple laps down in 38th and 39th. Donnie Stobbett's the only driver officially out. He'll finish 40th here tonight.
Yeah, and my pick for the race here today, Rachel Hunt, currently running in the 8th position now. She just got passed for that spot by Bernard Pearson. And remember when we pitted, she was up in 3rd or 4th. I think Rachel has a good long run set up here. After they get about 15, 20, 25 laps on the tires, that's when that pink number 16 comes into effect, and she is absolutely flying on that long run. But right now, just giving up a little bit of time to these drivers with a little bit better short run setup, get that high wedge package in there. It burns up those tires, but it's fast for the first half of the run. So we're keeping an eye on her. We're going to keep an eye on Dean Doucette. Is he closing in anymore? Nope. Looks like after Chandler worked his way past those lap cars, he was able to open it up more. Now 6.294 seconds as Dean Doucette finds himself in that same traffic that Chandler was just in.
Yeah, he's working on Rob Shoemaker, who makes his first event. Had some unfortunate internet issues that plagued the iRacing system last weekend that cost Rob a chance to make the Daytona Road Course. A renowned road course racer, actually finished top 5 at the Daytona Road Course in the Truck Series. So tough break for Rob, but he's out here tonight doing a good job. But 31st, probably not what he wants. But right behind all this is Richie Coy, one of the drivers that is on that long strategy. So he's trying to find a way around without losing too much time. Brody Hanna's already gotten around those guys. And if you can believe it, Brody Hanna is working on catching Bill Benedict, who just went a lap down. So Hanna is not too far from unlapping himself here in this race.
Yeah, he's not. He's turning still about 1.2 seconds a lap faster than the leader. He's got to be careful, though, not to burn up a lot of fuel while he's doing this. He's got to be clutching in some of these corners. If we can go on board with him and maybe hear that if he is actually doing that. I'm not 100% sure, but he didn't add any padding. He went exactly 66 laps, so he's got to be careful on how many laps he turns here today, running with that throttle all the way down.
And we're on board with Brody Hanna now on our cockpit camera, and you can see just the car looks really stable here. He's really running up on Bill Benedict by getting around Bill Benedict until Jeff Chandler catches Randall Ballard. He will be the first car 1 lap down, so puts him in a lucky dog position. And he's going to make quick work of the number 90 Interstate Batteries Ford. And Brody Hanna moving up in this race to 27th position. So we'll keep an eye on him. Back up front, you can see that Jeff Chandler continuing to upgrade that lead. It's up to almost 7 seconds, and Brian Helm is actually gaining on Dean Doucette. They're on the same straightaway now.
Yeah, Brody Hanna has made quick work of the number 90 of Bill Benedict. Now sets the sights on the leader, so he's going to unlap himself, still running his last lap 32.640 as compared to Jeff Chandler's 33.225. So he's going to pass the leader, get back on the lead lap. He's going to be able to run faster than the leader for up to probably another 10 to 15 laps. Then the 31 is going to have to pit. Brody Hanna, is not going to have to pit. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I really don't, but it's going to be fun to watch because right now, nobody has anything for the number 31 of Jeff Chandler. The battle is from second on back until this fuel strategy plays out.
Speaking of second on back, his teammate in that RPM Motorsports group, Jeff Winter, is starting to make his way up to the front. He's caught to Brian Helm, who is catching Dean Doucette. So before you know it, these RPM drivers could be getting up there, and like you said, might have an affiliation with the Bruzy as well, which might be helping them out tonight. But Jeff Winter and Jeff Chandler doing a great job in their first, really, you could say their first oval race here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. Just in front of him is Rob Shoemaker, who is in 31st lap down. Just behind him is Kevin Sargent in 38th, 2 laps down there. And right now, you look at some of these other guys, DJ Bobby Terrell has moved himself up to 6th spot. He's gaining on Tim Bills, the guy who has a top 5 streak still going after 3 races. This series has only raced 3 times at Homestead. And Bobby Terrell trying to continue that streak of finishing in the top 5 every time, and is closing on Tim Bills for that 5th spot.
Absolutely. Bobby Terrell, what a racer, man. I'm telling you, consistent as ever. Can confirm now that Brody Hanna has passed the leader and is now back onto the lead lap. But these drivers, man, I mean, we talk about the leader of the race because, you know, people want to win a race. They want to see who the winner is. But not a lot of credit gets paid to these drivers that finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or maybe 9th or 10th every single week and are consistently there and consistently available. And when something bad does happen, they're there to take advantage of it. So consistency is always going to pay off in the end. As you can see with a lot of these drivers out there right now, they're running consistent lap times. They're running consistent finishes. The championship, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, this year is the first time that the championship is going to pay out for winnings, actual cash winnings for these drivers.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, it's a pretty big prize. I don't have the figures just in front of me, but they do get paid out every race all the way up in the top 20. So if you finish in 20th spot, it's not a lot. I think you get a dime, but everybody in the top 20 does get some money at the end of the night. So it is important as this season goes on. The money is there, and it's the first time that there's a big payout for the championship. First time they're doing playoffs here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, and really the level of competition. A lot of these drivers raced here last year. We only have a handful of rookies, and the competition level has just gone to another level here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. You're seeing it here tonight when you watch our defending champion, Bernard Persson, who finished 3rd in this race last time. He's back there in 7th place and just kind of has been had to work his way through so much traffic, 21 spots, and it shows just how much qualifying means this year. Yeah,
and think about anybody watching out there, think about leagues that you've been in that have cautions every lap, or, you know, constant wrecks, or, you know, you finish the league race with 3 people left in it. And look, we have 48 people on a weekly basis trying to get into this series. We start 40. We've run caution free so far. We had maybe 1 caution, 2 cautions at Daytona for a wreck. We didn't have any, obviously, at the road course. And these drivers, this is absolutely amazing. So if anybody's watching out there for the first time tonight and you're interested in either joining Full Throttle Sim Racing, or you want to check it out and follow us more in depth, see what the points look like, see what the playoffs look like, you can go to fullthrottlesimracing.net. That's fullthrottlesimracing.net. They have series that race almost every night of the week, but basically it happens Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturday nights. Cup cars, trucks, Xfinity cars, they have everything here. So check it out again. That's fullthrottlesimracing.net. And hey, a special shout out to Brandon Elder for custom designing the points, the points and the registration and the system, the payouts, everything completely customized by Brandon Elder from scratch, and it's working wonders here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, Jared.
Yeah, that's Sim Racing points. Brandon Elder's done a whale of a job with that. The community really needed a system like that. Created that charter system with Full Throttle Sim Racing in mind. I don't know if he has plans just yet to release it to the public, but it is coming in the future, and it is amazing what he does and what he can do with the programming. But back to this race, I mean, we started to see some pit stops. Bill Benedict has become the first driver in. We also had Randy. Oh no, sorry, that was it. Bill Benedict, the only driver that has taken his chance to go to a pit road, as we are approaching about 45 laps to go. So these guys that pitted on lap 45. They can pit any time from now and make it comfortably.
Yeah, so these drivers that are on 2-stop strategies, like we said, which is everybody except for Brody Hanna and 1 other driver, they're going to pit between now and anytime their fuel runs out. the thought process is if they pit now, they undercut, they possibly get a better position. But if they pit too soon and the race goes green, those drivers that pit later are going to be able to run them back down. So they got to pick how aggressive do they want to be coming into the pits early or coming into the pits late. I think a lot of these drivers that are closer to the front are going to kind of wait as long as they possibly can. Some drivers running near the back are going to take the chance they're going to pit as early as possible.
Brody Hanna getting on some lap traffic here. Randy McCanny just in front of him. That's an associated team driver there. We have, looks like Ronnie Royal in there as well. Those guys battling for position. Ronnie Royal, Gary Griffith, and Brody Hanna. We haven't talked a lot about Gary tonight, but he is running in 19th position, up 8 spots in that 12 machine. But right now, that's all battle for position for Brody Hanna.
Yeah, Brody Hanna battling for position. His lap times have kind of evened out now with the number 31, and that's to be, determined, to be suspected as far as, how he ran back up through the race. And it might be that he realized that he has to back it up just a little bit now to save some more fuel. Consistent. That last lap was within 2 1,000ths of the lap before that, and he's running in traffic and passing traffic. So Brody very consistent right now as he's working past the number 12 car for that 19th spot. That is Gary Griffith. And I got to tell you, a lot of different paint schemes out there tonight. Gary's doesn't have a lot going on it, but it's clean, it's slick, it looks really good. That number 12 sparkling as in the sun rays as they head down behind the bleachers in turn 2.
And fun fact about Gary, he has probably painted, I don't know, I want to say 50 cars. There's several drivers out here. Obviously his own team, I do believe Randy McCanny is running a paint by him. So there's several drivers. I think some other teams are even running some paints by him as well. Gary Griffith is one of the painters in this league. Him and Brian Bliss paint a large majority of these cars that you see on the racetrack. So, but love that USCCA paint there on the number 12 as you see Gary Griffith actually heading into pit road. Ronnie Royal is going to follow him. Those guys coming in in 18th and 19th spot. I already have Lane Allen in. He's coming out of pits. He misses pits, so he's had to back up a little bit. Zach McDaniel is in. Ralph Nolan is in. Dean Doucette is in.
Yep, Dean Doucette, a big name. He's in as well. Troy Torgensen, he's also in. Down and away. Heard him say a little bit of adjustment in that right rear. He's going to take a half a pound out of the right rear for the number 98. Give him a little more stability, a little more drive off of that corner, especially turn 4 was getting a little bit loose. So these drivers now come out with fresh tires, and they are going to go hammer down as hard as they can.
Oh, man, DJ, we might have to get you to look at that. Jeff Chandler came in hot off the track, and he may not have made it under speed limit.
Yeah, we're gonna look at Jeff Chandler, and unfortunately for me, the replay has cut out, so I can't see exactly if he did speed. But we're gonna find out here because when you speed coming down pit road, it holds you for 40 seconds. So if Chandler did speed, he is now going to be held on pit road. So we're going to watch it as the right side is up, now goes down. He's going to go around to the left side. They're going to jack those car up, and he is down and away. Nope. No penalty for the number 31. He's got to be careful getting off of pit road under the speed limit and not merge until he's allowed to, but it looks all clean and green for the number 31.
That was very close. Tim Bills also in hot, locks it down hard in that number 77. Bobby Terrell follows him in. That's sure Williford in your background. Dale Nearad also in. So the top 4. And DJ, if you look at the standings, guess who's going to inherit the lead? Right now, it's Brody Hanna.
Brody Hanna is in the lead because he's the only one that didn't have to pit, except for, I believe he was out there with the 19 of Richie Coy. So it should be Brody Hanna and Richie Coy running 1-2. And now with only 40-ish laps left, or it looks like it's going to be 33 laps left, can these guys run them down? Or is Brody Hanna going to run out of fuel? I'm excited. I want to watch this on TV, man, and I got a front row seat.
Oh, DJ, Brody Hanna's in the pits. Brody Hanna is coming in the pits, locks it down hard. So Brody Hanna has abandoned the long strategy, and he's going to come in the pits.
Brody, what are you doing, bro? Something must have went wrong on the number 23. The Slim Jim must have snapped, and he is on pit road. The strategy is no more. We're going to have to get word with him after the race on what exactly was going on. Maybe he realized that he absolutely couldn't make it. But why would you not stay out there for a possible yellow, while you're in the lead? So maybe a miscommunication with the 23 and his crew, or maybe just a bad judgment call on the 23. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Richie Coy will stay out. He will carry the mantle. We think that he can make it on fuel, but he only has, he's actually already been passed by Jeff Chandler. So at this point, he's, kind of got what he got at this point in that number 19. If he can make it to the end, he might be able to salvage a top 10, but the victory is looking very much in the 31's hands at this point.
Everyone's screaming debris, debris, debris. There's debris on the track. Unless we get a caution or something happens to the number 31, this race is in the hands of Jeff Chandler.
Jeff Chandler, the boxer, wagging the tail, getting his way through the field here in his first season at FTSR, doing a great job. He's led pretty much since lap number 41 when he took over from Dean Doucette, and he set sail. We've had a couple of guys that have led since then through the change of pit stops, but otherwise in green flag, it's been Jeff Chandler as we are down to 34 laps to go. And with all that being said, now's a good time with pit stops having cycled through. Let's go through the field. Starting with that 31, Jeff Chandler looking very good. We've talked about him all night, dominating here in that Abruzzi-sponsored sportswear machine. 8-second lead over our second-place driver.
Yeah, that's second-place driver Richie Coy trying that one-stop pit strategy. It's working out for him so far. He's up there in the second spot, but I don't know how much longer that number 19 can hold on. His lap times are about 2 seconds slower, as you see the number 29 of Dean Doucette. He's going to make his way up there for the battle for the second spot. Jared, what are you hearing on Dean?
And we go back here. Dean Doucette going to probably make the pass on the 19. He does. He's going to clear Richie Coy. So Dean Doucette, last year's winner here at Homestead. He's won, only started two races here at Homestead in the Cup Series, but doing a nice job. Led some laps earlier. Will not get the double bonus points for leading the most lap. That's going to go to Jeff Chandler officially now. But the 29 car sitting back in 33rd in points coming into this race, desperately needed a good run, and he is doing good. He is now just ahead of our fourth place driver, Brian Helm.
Yeah, Brian Helm in that white and orange, that hunting orange, that Bandit Racing number 26. He's doing pretty well. He's running consistently. He is started 8th. He's up to 4th. He's running good lap times. He's working his way now around Richie Coy. He's going to move up into the 3rd position. And behind him, closing in ever so quickly, Jared, is Jeff Winter. Yeah,
and that's the teammate for Jeff Chandler. So Jeff Winter trying to fight to get on that podium. He is there with Brian Helm. Both those guys making a little bit of a quick gain on Dean Doucette. The gap has started to stabilize, but they are gaining there. So Jeff Winter doing a great job in the 4th position in his just his second race. He qualified for Daytona, then wasn't able to end up making the race, so his spot was filled. So he has qualified for all 3 races of the year, but has only started 2. But Jeff Winter doing a really good job in the 30s. We look back to 6th place, Tim Bills in that 77 making his debut.
Yeah, Tim Bills just recently made his way around the number 16 of Rachel Hunt, but look at that car, and just look how skewed it is off to the right. That rear end skewed off to the right just a little bit as he's going down the front straightaway. That's pretty much how you go fast here. So some people might look at that and say, oh, it looks a little weird. He's making his way now around Richie Coy, but Tim Bills has a really fast car. He's down 3 spots, though. Now down 2. I think Tim's going to get back up there pretty much running faster than Jeff Winter right now, but that number 77, the Wheelin' and Dealin' Motorsports, is definitely dealing right now as he is currently running in the 5th spot.
And Tim Bill's a Truck Series champion making a debut race here in the Cup Series, and we'll have to see how his season goes on. Looking back into 7th place, and this is, we got a gaggle back here. Troy Torgerson, Bobby Terrell, and Rachel Hunt all changing positions, along with Richie Coy, who is on that one-stop strategy. But Troy Torgerson had a great race. He almost won the Truck Series race. This guy did on Wednesday night. But Troy doing a very good job. Up in 6th spot for GT Performance Sim Sport. Doing a very good job. Troy is a renowned racer, and he's getting hounded by Bobby Terrell right behind him, DJ.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell in that number 5 Armor All sponsor machine is all over the rear end, the rear bumper of Troy Torgerson, as he's going to go drift just a little bit high, try to get some clean air on that nose. He's going to turn it down underneath of Torgerson and battle for that 6th spot. It looks like Bobby Terrell is going to be able to take that now as he runs the bottom line in turn 3. He's got to be careful not to slide up into Torgensen. Lots of room, very respectful racing going on right here. They're still side by side. He was not able to clear Torgensen, but I do believe in a matter of time, probably feet, it's going to be the number 5 in that spot.
And we see Bobby Terrell clean the move off. Those two drivers have gotten by. Our 8th place driver, that's Rachel Hunt, has had a rough start to the season. I mean, I don't think you could have had a rougher start. She got wrecked at the very beginning of the Daytona race, finished 37th at the road course, sits on the season with 5 points. Rachel Hunt needed desperately a good run, but she just got passed by our defending champion, Bernard Person. But Rachel Hunt having a great race, and DJ, it's going to be not too long before we see her in victory lane, but our defending champion starting to move back toward the front of the field.
Yeah, and Rachel's I'm gonna hear about that later, giving Rachel Hunt the broadcaster curse, picking her to win. Moving back behind Rachel, the number 25 and seemingly fan favorite in YouTube chat, Terry Cooper Jr. He's currently in 10th. A solid run, up 10 spots, started 20th. Probably would have liked to start a little further ahead, but a top 10, you can't get away from that. And I'm being told that I skipped over Bernard Pearson. And Bernard, I sincerely apologize because I was looking at the standings. We went right from Rachel to Terry Cooper Jr., but Bernard was able to pass both of them. So let's talk about Bernard Pearson. He started at 28th. He's now up to 8th. 20 spots. 20 spots. And he is going to have time to get around Bobby Terrell and Troy Torgerson. Bernard Pearson driving for Spear Motorsports, his 4th year in the Cup Series. And he is making every minute of it count and showing you why he is the champion. And now, Jared, if I will, want to talk about Sherwood Williford?
Yeah, sure, Williford. And there's a tight battle there on track. Holy cow. Zach McDaniel, who is a lap down, and Sherwood Williford door to door. Sherwood, he is what we call here at Full Throttle TV, where did he come from? Always running thereabouts the top 10, top 15 throughout most of the race. And all of a sudden, you look at the end of the results as we approach 23 to go, and he finishes 7th or 6th. Sherwood Williford doing a great job. He is a past champion here at FTSR and doing a great job in that Spear Motorsports group. Teammates with Brian Helm and Bernard Person. So those guys doing a whale of a job. Bandit Racing, Spear Motorsports, all one conglomerate. And DJ right behind him, the guy that's finished 2nd in points last year, Mr. Wayne Grossi.
Yeah. You like how Jared led me into who we were going to talk about this time and didn't let me go on a 20-minute tangent about the wrong driver. But how about Wayne? Wayne started in 34th. He is now up into the 13th position, and he's going to gain even more spots than that. Wayne Grassi driving for Wayne Grassi Racing. And I tell you what, I've always been partial to a Pennzoil sponsor machine. I loved it all the way back on the old DEI cars back in 2001 and even before that when it was ran. And I got a soft spot for the yellow car. I'm telling you, Jared, the yellow cars are good, and with a couple more weeks under his belt and a little more tuning on that setup, you're going to see Wayne Grassi up into the front of this pack before too much longer. But tell us about how one of the biggest losers, and I don't mean, let me rephrase that, not the biggest loser. How about one of the people that has fallen off the pace the most here tonight after starting 5th? That's Casey McMullen.
Yeah, these next 3 drivers have dropped off from their starting positions. Casey McMullen, Mr. Consistency, we usually see him be the guy to stretch the fuel out. Tonight he elected not to do that, and that number 71 Blackwater Products machine doing a great job, but probably not what he wanted tonight, running in 14th. He was a runner-up in the Cup Series a couple seasons ago as well in 2020A, so the 71 can get it done. He also won a Charlotte race, kind of a similar type track as Homestead here, as he's going to work around Richie Coy here in just a minute. Who continues to drop further and further back on that one-stop strategy. But right behind him is our pole setter, Tracy Powers.
Yeah, tough go of it for Tracy Powers, who we were all hyped about at the start of this race, ran a fantastic qualifying time. But in my firm belief, I believe that Tracy Powers and a couple of these drivers that started up towards the front we're running short run setups. We're thinking there were going to be some caution flags here tonight, and it's not. It's been clean and green for over 116 laps so far, and these short run setups are not working once the track gets worn in, once you get some rubber on the track. It's reminding me now to check the track temperature. It's gone down, but it's only gone down by 2 degrees, so not a huge factor right now. It's just the setups, the short run setups, not able to compete with the long run setups here tonight. Driver behind him having the same issue. That's Dale Nearad.
And Dale Nearad did manage to get 1 lap led here tonight. He's battling with his teammate, or one of his affiliated teammates. Anyway, Jason Spear there, down 12 spots. His teammate, Jason Spear, up 14 spots. So those two drivers doing a good job, but going in different directions, if you will. Dale Nearad, a rookie, and trying to get his season going. Has had some kind of rough races, but he's been there and thereabouts in that Bandit Racing machine. One of the youngest drivers in this series, only 19 years old, out of Iowa. So he is doing a good job. A little bit ironic paint scheme. The 03, a General Motors sponsor on a Toyota. So there you go, DJ, as we look at his affiliated team owner, Jason Spear, right behind him.
Yeah, Jason Spear, as you alluded to, up 14 positions, started in 31st, currently in 17th, and he is going to be working over in short order his affiliated teammate there, Dale Nearad. Jason Spear in that blue. Is that blue? Is that purple? I guess it depends on which way the light hits it. So we're going to call it blue, but if I am wrong, I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. But that Spear Motorsports number 83, looking just okay tonight. Looking okay. Not bad, not super great, but consistent, running in the 17th position. And another driver behind him who's gained a whole lot, that's Brian Bliss. Yeah,
Brian Bliss missed the Daytona opening race in the number 18 for Faster Sim Racing, associated with Blackwater and Steve Berry Racing. But that group starting to get going. I mean, 18th place. I think Brian Bliss will be extremely happy about running there, up 15 positions and doing a good job. He is a former Truck Series champion, but never has really found his footing in the Cup Series. But tonight, really having a good run. He's actually holding the mantle down as the fourth highest driver of that Blackwater Steve Berry Racing group in that number 18. And right behind him, the last driver on the lead lap, Mr. Brody Hanna.
And I know the fans out there tonight are like, DJ, we are sick of you talking about Brody Hanna. He had a good strategy going. We still don't know what happened in the Slim Jim sponsored number 23 of Brody Hanna. But I tell you, this is going to be my life's mission after this race is over, to hunt him down and find out why he did not continue on. But he is currently running last car on the lead lap in the 19th position. If a caution came out right now or any time before the end of the race, before the white flag comes out, he'd be okay. He'd probably be able to pick up some spots. So he's not completely out of it just yet, but if it goes green to the end, which I believe it will, it's going to be a tough row ahead for the number 23 of Brody Hanna, last car on the lead lap.
And now he's just got around Richie Coy, so that puts Richie the last car on the lead lap, but Jeff Chandler beating down the neck. We look a little bit further back through here. Lane Allen up 18 spots in 20th, first car lap down. Gil Gach right behind him in 21st, up 16. Gary Griffith, 22nd. Bronny Royals had kind of a rough night in 23rd. Brad Patterson has dropped 11 spots to 24th. Stephen Vrooman down 14 positions in 25th. Chad Lang, 26th, up 14 positions in the 41. Started last on the field, so he is continuing to move up. Bill Benedict has dropped 9 spots. Randall Ballard in 28th, dropped 14. David Hensley up 12 spots from his 41st starting position, 12th, up 12 spots. And then Rob Shoemaker there in 30th. Zach McDaniel, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't had the kind of race that I thought he might have. I mean, he is a Truck Series, just one of the best drivers in the Truck Series, but just has not found his footing in the Cup Series, as he has made all 3 races this year as he looks to really attack this Cup Series, but right there in 31st. Right now, only 3 drivers officially out: Jason Martin, Matt Geringer, and Donnie Staubitz. Ralph Nolan Jr., the last car running, in 37th position. He had a pit penalty that cost him some time, dropped him to 37th, much like Randy McCanny, last week's winner, in 36th position. DJ, we look back up front. It's the Jeff Chandler show tonight.
Yeah, it's all Jeff Chandler right now. That Abruzzi number 31 ahead now by over 10 seconds on Dean Doucette, who has run second here pretty much all night. Behind him, Brian Helm making the move, and it looks like that last lap was a little bit faster than Dean Doucette, so we might not have a battle for the lead, but we're heating up to have a battle for that second spot. Last lap for Dean Doucette, 33.45. Last lap for Brian Helm, 33.26. So 0.2 of a second faster than Dean Doucette was that of Brian Helm. And looking back at Jeff Winter, he ran a 31.1. He is even faster than Brian Helm. Looking back at Tim Bills, his last lap was a 33.3, so he is not moving in. But it looks like the battle for second will be between Dean Doucette, Brian Helm, and Jeff Winter, the three fastest cars on the track besides Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Those guys very quick. And Brian Helm is probably going to catch Dean Doucette before the end of this race. At the other side, we have Tim Bills and Bobby Terrell battling hard. And going into turn one, Bobby Terrell really skewing that car out, dirt tracking. He's loose. Bobby Terrell's loose. He has to get down the apron. And the 5 car is just trying to gather it up, but he was going for 5th, and he just couldn't hold on to it, DJ.
Yeah, that was one heck of a save by the number 5 car, Bobby Terrell. He is going to lose a spot now to Bernard Pearson as Pearson moves up into that 6th spot. He's also really fast. Last lap, 33.228, and he is just as fast as the second place car, if not faster. So everybody is going to be underneath a blanket here as we're working lap number 128, about ready to start lap 129. About 6 or so laps to go here.
Yeah, DJ, this reminds me of those old Atlanta Cup races where the race would kind of spread out and then it would accordion as the race continued. I don't know if there's enough time for Bernard Pearson to catch Tim Bills or even the top 3 there, or the 2nd through 4th drivers, but it is definitely an accordion right now. But Bobby Terrell trying to fight back to catch Bernard Pearson. Behind them, Rachel Hunt just lost position to Troy Torgerson, but she's trying to battle back, DJ, and we got some battling on the track.
Yeah, she's trying to battle back, and you mentioned that Bernard Pearson might not be able to make it up to that second spot. He's definitely going to battle Tim Bills. He was 0.3 of a second faster last lap. Bernard Pearson now is set on getting a top 5 position, one of the fastest cars on the track. Let's compare him to even Jeff Chandler. Bernard Pearson is the fastest car on the track, even faster than the leader. Little too late, though, as Jeff Chandler is now going to come down to complete lap number 131. So we're going to have about 5 laps to go for the number 31 of Jeff Chandler. The battle for second starting to heat up. Brian Helm, he smells Dean Doucette. He knows that Dean Doucette has some hot dogs brewing in his car right now, and he wants to cash out. Oh, man, do you think I can think of a better metaphor? I mean, what's Dean doing running around eating hot dogs in his car? But you never know.
Well, DJ, he's Canadian. Wouldn't he be eating poutine?
I don't know. I really don't.
I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding. But we are down to 4 laps to go, and this has been a heck of a race. DJ, no cautions. Not even, I don't think there's been any real close calls tonight. I mean, we did see Bobby Terrell get loose. We've seen some drivers get loose, but this has been, honestly, a very amazing race. And yes, I race here, but my goodness, I don't think I expected 40 drivers to go caution-free at this track, especially when it's so difficult to pass. And DJ, whale of a job. But Brian Helm trying to chase down Dean Doucette. That's going to be our battle on the track. Jeff Winter is chasing both of those guys down. So 2nd through 4th could change hands here in the next 3 laps, as there's a lot of lap traffic in front of them.
Oh, yeah, it is getting a lot closer now. Within a half a second, Dean Doucette and Brian Helm. And to be fair to Dean, I will go dictionary.com what poutine is. I'm sure it is a very nice Canadian meal. So for all the Canadian fans out there, please don't at me. No. But it looks like now Brian Helm, his last lap, a 10.5 faster than Dean Doucette. He is now within 0.2 of a second as we're coming down. The 31 of Jeff Chandler, unchallenged all night, is going to take the white flag.
Jeff Chandler, first season at FTSR, coming down into turn number 1. He does have the Spear drivers in front of him, but Jeff Chandler doing a heck of a job, and he will lead the pack into turn 2. But right behind him, it's going to be the battle. This is where it is, and there's a lot of lap traffic. Dean Doucette going to get caught up by the lap traffic, and Brian Helm is going to get to the bumper of the 29 coming off turn number 2.
Down the back straightaway, it is going to be Jeff Chandler going to come out of turn 4, and Chandler is going to take the checkered flag here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. Led almost every single lap, and what a great finish it was. Second place behind them will go to Dean Doucette, who was able to hold off a hard-charging Brian Helm. Fourth place is going to go to Jeff Winter, who almost got there. And fifth place is going to go to the number 77 of Tim Bills. Bernard Pearson was not able to break into that top 5 there, Jared.
Yeah, we were focused on that second place battle. It was close. I mean, those guys were nose to tail. If there was one more lap in this race, we could have seen a lot of things change up there. But DJ, as he called it home there, Jeff Chandler going to grab the win. His first career FTSR win and just his third start in that number 31 RPM Motorsports drive. What a win by Jeff Chandler, who pretty much led, as we said earlier, for the last 90 laps of this event. Dean Doucette second, Jeff Winter fourth, Brian Helm third. Tim Bills will grab fifth. And you look back a little bit further, Bobby Terrell recovers for seventh, Rachel Hunt eighth, Troy Torgerson, Sher Williford, we talked about it, grabs a top 10 here tonight. So, DJ, it's going to be a big one as you see Jeff Chandler celebrate the victory.
Yeah, burning it down on the front straightaway. That Abruzzi sponsors number 31, taking the victory here tonight and doing a little smoke show for the fans. First season here at FTSR. And if you liked what you saw here tonight, be sure to check us out at fullthrottlesimracing.net. That is fullthrottlesimracing.net. One of the best leagues out there. We ran 134 laps, clean and green here tonight. Open setups with 40 drivers, almost unheard of in any other form of league racing, Jared.
Yeah, unbelievable. You look at the results there so you can see your favorite driver. Some tough nights for some drivers. Last week's winner, Randy McKinney, he's going to come home back in 35th position. You look at some of these other guys. Richie Coy had to pit at the end. He ran out of gas, so he finishes 31st. So tough break for Richie there. You look back a little bit further. We got Brad Patterson, 23rd. Brody Hanna, 22nd here tonight. So these guys... it was a tough race for these guys, but at the end of the day, did a pretty good job here tonight. We're going to hear from our top 3 finishers here at the Homestead 200, but first, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be back with our top 3.
The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready. This is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Got to be careful. The bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner.
right, we are back live here at Homestead Miami Speedway, where Jeff Chandler dominated tonight. And DJ, we take a look at that championship picture, and it has changed up a little bit, but it's all unofficial at this point in time. But Terry Cooper Jr. going to take over the point lead, Casey Mullen second, and Gary Griffith is going to be in third place.
Yeah, Cooper with the twofer, basically the benefit of Brandon Elder, not racing here tonight and finishing in a solid 12th place position. That's going to move Terry Cooper up into the first spot. And Steve Berry racing 1 and 2 in the points. I mean, did we think that was going to happen at the beginning of the year? Yeah,
exactly. And Jared Daniels, good news for him. He won't fall out of the top 20 in points. Tough break, but it is a long season. So the good news is Jared Daniels will be locked in moving forward, at least for next week. You look back further, Dale Nearad locks himself in. Donnie Staubitz locks himself in. Gil Gock. Sure, Wilford nearly got there, but he will have to qualify in on time next week, which is going to be tough. Chad Lang back there. Jeff Winter back there. We look further back. Rachel Hunt is back there. So is Wayne Grossi. So these guys are going to have to qualify in on points. These are all unofficial, so nothing 100% set in stone until after the final reports are done here later in the week. But you look back further, Brad Patterson, tough night. Steve Loomis back there as well. Zach McDaniel back there in the points. 49 drivers have made a race this year, so it's been awesome to see that many drivers out here. But we're going to hear from our third place driver. It looks like we're going to get our winner. We were trying to hold up to see if Jeff Chandler was going to be able to get on TeamSpeak here. So, but DJ, I think you're down there on pit road with our third place finisher, Mr. Brian Helm.
Hey, Brian, standing down here with you. All the fans want to know, how'd you do it here tonight? Started 8th. Finished in 3rd, almost had Dean there at the end. What do we have underneath that car tonight that brought you up there?
Well, it's just something that I built, and the Spears guys helped me with a little bit. This track is just a lot about driver, in my opinion. I mean, the set would start really loose and then go really tight and then go back to really loose, so you just had to wheel it.
Yeah, did traffic and the dirty air, did that play a large factor tonight, and your thoughts on how to get around the track?
Yeah, you'd catch a guy, and you just timing and when you catch him and that kind of stuff. Like with Dean there on that second run, I couldn't run him down. I was trying to get a second out of this deal, but just really timing and when you catch people and stuff really makes a big difference.
Yeah, so a good points night here for you tonight. What does that mean to you going into next week?
Well, I'm focusing a little more on the Cup car this year than I did. And I'm still trying to decide whether I, run every race on Monday nights or Wednesday nights.
Well, with what we saw here tonight, I think it's going to help your decision a little bit to possibly run Cup. What do you think?
It's getting that way. I mean, I can't dedicate an entire season to all 3 series, so I just pick one. And so far, I like the trucks. Obviously, I won a championship last year, but it might be Cup this year.
Yeah, for sure. Championship last year for Brian Helm, but showing us how it's done here in the Cup Series tonight on Monday night. Brian, who do you got to thank for your finishing here tonight?
Well, the Bandit Racing and Spears kind of work together, and I want to thank everybody on both those groups and, everybody that puts on this series, Brody and all the sponsors and everybody. I really love this.
Well, great finish here tonight. Puts you 4th place in points, so you're locked in for next week, and we hope to see you back here for a full season. Congratulations again on your top 3 finish, Brian.
Thank you. You guys.
All right, we're going to kick it over to Jared Carr, who is caught up with tonight's 2nd place finisher, and might I add, broadcaster, co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Dean Doucette. Maybe can explain to us what poutine is.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the surprise. Dean's going to have to watch the replay to find out what that's all about. But Dean doing a good job here tonight. You up in 2nd spot, took over the lead on lap 41 from Tracy Powers, but that 31 car, Jeff Chandler, it looked like he was pretty quick tonight.
Yeah, wow, he was tough to handle. I mean, he was coming. I got out there. I mean, I was taking it easy for, semi-easy, I guess. And I just walked up to the front, and then I took off, and I thought, well, this is going to be a joyous day. We're just going to walk away here. We must have a rocket. And then I seen Chandler coming. I seen Helm coming too later in the race. And I thought, well, and I knew the set wasn't as good as I thought because it was a handful all night long.
Yeah, we saw you get loose a couple times before Chandler had caught up to you, but right when Chandler passed you, you got really loose. One of the biggest saves of the night, actually, that we saw on camera. I mean, you were really wheeling that thing. But we saw a lot of pitch strategy tonight. We talk about in some of our broadcasts, Dean, how you like the pitch strategy going into this race. A lot of guys split down the middle. We had some drivers try to stay out and make it to the end. We had some drivers short pit. What was your thought coming in here tonight as far as that pitch strategy game goes? Was it always going to be a split down the middle for you?
Well, I mean, I went a little long just because the car was really getting bad on the long run. So I tried to shorten up the stints. But my normal strategy of trying to win the race, I kind of threw it out the window because of Jeff just being so fast out there. And, he also had great pit entrances where he was gaining time. So I just thought, you know what, this is a fight for a second. So I just kept watching in my mirror, watching Helm and thinking he's not pitting, I'm not pitting, but he's gaining. So I had to kind of measure that. So I had to be first in between us two or the same lap. And I mean, it wasn't my normal thing, go for the win, but I tried to stay out a few extra laps.
And Dean, you've won a Cup Series championship. You won 2 last season, the 2020 A and 2020 B season. This season looking to be a very, very tough season. I mean, you were outside the top 20 points coming into this race. Luckily, you managed to get yourself inside unofficially 17th in points. Going into Vegas, does that lift a little bit of weight off your shoulders heading in there, knowing that you're locked in to qualify next week at Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, it actually lifts the weight off of Brody's shoulders because we had champions provisionals. It's going to give hit to him. I won't have to use it. But I'll tell you, man, 17th in points. I know, maybe the first 2 tracks, you got super speedway, a bit of a crapshoot, and road course, not really my forte. But nonetheless, the competition in this league here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, up and down the board, you never know who's going to get the win. We might have 16 different winners. So even points, he might not get in the playoffs. There's a lot to be worried about. This has not alleviated any concerns for me.
Still a long way to go. Obviously, third race of the season into 38. Dean, congratulations, man, on your runner-up finish tonight. I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you have the last word, bud.
All right. Thanks a lot to you, Jared and DJ, doing a great job in the booth as always. I want to thank my team over at Blackwater Motorsports, but I actually run for Steve Barry Racing, who sponsors the truck series as well. Big shout out to him and his wife, Linda. Great people there. And just all my teammates up and down the line, Casey, Lane, you got Brad and Steve, everybody there, just fantastic guys. So, and of course, Full Throttle Sim Racing. That's about it, guys.
Well, that was Dean Doucette, DJ. Congrats on him for the runner-up. But you are down there with a guy that dominated the race tonight, Mr. Jeff Chandler, grabbing his first career FDSR Cup Series win.
Yeah, Jeff, what a great run here tonight. Your first time in FTSR, your first win. You've now locked yourself into the top 20 in points, so you're guaranteed to make the races starting next week. Currently 13th in the RPM Motorsports machine. How about that race today, though? It looked like Dean might have had the car to beat up front at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, here comes that Abruzzi-powered machine just mowing him down.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to be a little tight at the start of the race, just in traffic. I mean, it's just, these cars are so aero dependent, and once you don't have that downforce on the front end, you gotta wait till it comes in. It took me about 22 laps before the car finally came in to where I could maneuver in the traffic like I wanted to. But once it did, it was just a rocket ship. I mean, it was just. Gosh, I would have to go out and say it was probably the best setup I've had on a 1.5 track in maybe forever. It was just excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, we were looking at the front end of your car, and it looked really planted down on the track evenly. Everything looked good for what you would expect to have a really fast car here. You changed lines, whether you were running low, high, it just seemed to work. Tell us about the pit strategy here tonight. Were you worried at all about drivers maybe changing it up? And how about those pit entrances too? You were the one of, if not the fastest driver getting in and out of pit road tonight.
Yeah, and I can't even explain that because I'm usually terrible at that, So, I mean, the last one, I mean, man, I had it locked up and sideways getting into the pit, and it's not typically something that I'm good at, but I did. I practiced quite a bit this week. I mean, I even practiced stopping in my pit stall right, making sure the guys didn't have to move too far to get going. I was just trying to nail everything because I already knew what kind of league this was. This is just an incredible league with a bunch of fast cars in it. And I knew if I didn't put the work in, I was going to probably be, mid pack. So I worked on everything, and I had the opportunity to work on it. I was kind of in COVID lockdown. Just had to quarantine because I was around somebody at work. And so I had all week to do this. So, that was my advantage for sure.
Definitely practice makes perfect, or as perfect as you can get here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Tell us about who's on your car. Tell us a little bit about a Bruzy for those people that don't know. I'm very familiar with them and what they offer. Tell us a little bit about them.
Oh yeah, they offer, racewear, gloves. I believe they're even in motocross, and they do, pants and shirts, and they're just a complete racewear racing apparel company, and they've sponsored our league. Our team, which is Legacy Esports, and they're fantastic to work with. They're dabbling in the sim stuff now, where they're making some sim equipment. Like they've got a seat out now that's really nice, and I'm gonna definitely have me one of those. But they're awesome. Also, like to throw a shout out to Butt Kicker. They're on as an associate sponsor, and I use their products, love them, and they're just really really good to us. And Reaper Speed Labs, the base setup on this is from Reaper Speed Labs. That's what it started with, and so you need a really good base. Reaper Speed Labs is the one to go to and grab it.
Well, awesome job here tonight. Jeff Chandler, and Jeff mentions Reaper Speed Labs. It seems like there's always a setup shop popping up, a new one every other day, but definitely Reaper Speed Labs and a couple other ones are definitely the top spots out there to grab them. And Jeff won on a Reaper setup here tonight. So there you go. But Jeff, again, congratulations. Great win here tonight, and best of luck next week.
I sure do appreciate it. And the broadcast, I always look forward to watching y'all's broadcast. I've watched all the past ones that y'all have for this series, and can't wait to watch this one.
Well, thank you again, Jeff. What a great win here tonight. And Jared, it was as it was. Jeff Chandler didn't really have the fastest car at the beginning, but once the tires wore, he was the fastest car with that Reaper setup under the hood here tonight. With that Bruzy sponsorship on there, he made them all proud as he almost lapped up into the top 15.
Yeah, and what a race it was. 134 laps, 40 drivers, no cautions, and 2 green flag pit stops for most of the drivers. It was an unbelievable night, DJ, and a very good race. You look at the top 10 in points, and I was scratching my head. It's unbelievable to see the competitiveness of this league. Gary Griffith, 3rd in points. I don't think he would expect to be there. Troy Torgerson in 5th. You look at Brody Hanna hanging in the top 10 in points. Jason Spear, 13th. Brandon Elder still in the top 15 despite missing tonight's race, 14th in points. Dean Doucette, 17th. We have such a top-to-bottom competitive group here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. But, DJ, looks like you're going to be out of the booth for a little bit. But I just wanted to say it was great to work with you for a little bit here. So I'm going to let you close out tonight's race, and look forward to seeing you here in the summer back on Full Throttle TV.
Yeah, Jared, it's definitely been a pleasure working with you here for the 3 or 4 short weeks that I was here, but unfortunately some schedule changes has happened, and I need to make my way to something else here, but hopefully can be back during the summertime on Full Throttle TV. So for everybody here at Full Throttle Sim Racing and Full Throttle TV, for Jared Carr, for Brody Hanna, Brandon Elder, all the guys that make everything happen at fullthrottlesimracing.net. This is DJ Lyon reminding you to keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down, and always, always, always keep that hammer down. We'll see you next time right here live on Full Throttle TV.